I hope that you are well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing our grade 1 English lesson on on context clues. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca, with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts. Grade 1. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of context clues. All right, so we are doing context clues. So our chapter is context clues. Our subject is English Language Arts. Grade 1. And the lessons that we're going to be focusing on under the chapter of context clues is to use context clues to identify the meaning of the word. So when it comes to context clues, right? So if you don't know the meaning of a specific word, then within your sentence, there will be, let's say, clues within the context of a sentence that will tell you what the meaning of that word might be. And that is why we call it context clues. So if you don't know the meaning of a word, then you can look for context clues. And context clues are nearby words that help you to figure out the meaning of a new word. All right. And if we look at examples of context clues, then a few examples are when it says that Megan was glum when her best friend moved away. And if we look at the word glum, right? And then it gives us an indication also based on the context of that sentence. And then it says that Megan was glum when her friend moved away, right? So even if we don't know what glum means, if you think of your friend moving away, right? So it's like you trying to think now, how would you feel if your friend were to move away? So which means that you would feel sad, right? So basically, glum, we can then guess that glum means sad. Another example is he said sorry, but I was so irate. Irate. And sometimes when we are, let's say, when we are too irate, and then even if somebody says sorry, then we don't want to hear at all. So which means that irate can then also mean angry. So irate, another word for irate is angry. So irate means angry. And if we specifically look at our sentence, right, then words in a sentence will basically tell us that we are actually angry. Because as much as he said sorry, it's like, I don't want to hear, I am just, this is how I feel. And then Mr. Lee keeps his home tidy and clean. So Mr. Lee keeps his home tidy and clean. And somebody who keeps their house tidy and clean, right? Another word for tidy and clean is to keep the house neat. Exactly. So context clue is when you can't, it doesn't give us the direct answer within the sentence, right? So it's like you'll get a word, right? And you don't even really know the meaning of that word because look at the word glum or irate. It's usually words that we've never, seen before unless you've heard it already, right? But then within your sentence, it will basically, parts of that sentence will tell you why glum is being used. For example, if we look at the first one, we look at this first one, it says Megan was glum when her best friend moved away, right? So now, if you were to think how you would feel when your best friend moves away, right? Then of course you'll feel sad, right? So which means that glum then gives us an indication that, it's to do with feeling sad or being sad or sad. Yes, a clue is being given to you because the direct meaning of that word is not being given to you. So now you need to look for specific clues. And that is why we call it context clues. It's like clues are within the context of the sentence. So that is correct. Clues. You cannot see it, but it is given to you within the context within of that sentence. All right. All right. It says be cautious. Move slowly and watch your step. Be cautious. Move slowly and watch your step. So if we look at the word cautious, right, it says that you can guess that cautious means careful, especially since they're saying you need to move slowly and watch your step. Because if you don't move slowly and watch your step, you may either trip and fall, right? So basically, you need to be careful so that you don't trip and fall. So you see, the cautious, they're not giving us the meaning of cautious, but within the context, right, of that sentence, it is basically telling us. So within that, you see, let's say this sentence, they're telling us to move slowly and watch your step. So now you come up with an idea of, okay, so cautious means this, right? The fact that I need to move slowly and carefully, slowly and watch my step, it means that we need to be careful, which means that, okay, so to be cautious is to be careful. Like the text is. All right. So this is basically context clues, right? And once again, we said context clues, right? If you don't know the meaning of a word, then you can find the context, or let's say parts of the sentences will give you an idea of what the meaning of a specific word in a sentence is. All right. And when it comes to context clues are nearby words that help you to figure out the meaning of a new word. It's words that means, it's almost meaning exactly the same word as what that specific word means. And with context clues, they will help you to figure out the meaning of a new word. All right, so now we're going to aplusstudents.ca. All right, and we're going to, and then we're going to the chapter of context clues, grade 1. And then we're going to do the lesson of use context to identify the meaning of a word. Now, why doesn't want to go now? All right. So now we're going to, oopsie, to aplusstudents.ca. And then we're going to our chapter of context clues. And the lesson is to use context to identify the meaning of a word. And once again, we said that if you don't know the meaning of a word, then look for context clues, right? And clues will be given to you within the text, within a sentence, right? So if a word is either too big and you don't understand a specific word, you don't understand the meaning of that word, right? Then the context clues, which means that the rest of the text or the nearby words, right, will then help you to figure out what the meaning of that word is. All right. Let us just do like 3 of these activities and then we will go on to our test, right? All right. So here it says, what does tread mean, right? Use context clues. So tread, it says don't tread on the grass. Don't tread on the grass. Go around it, please. So don't tread on the grass. Go around it, please. And if they say don't tread on the grass, then it's the same as saying that you should not be walking on the grass, right? You should rather go around it, right? So don't walk on the grass, don't step on the grass. The cookies were good, but the cake was dreadful. So the cookies were good, but the cake was dreadful. What do you think, without knowing what the actual meaning of dreadful is? It says the cookies were good, but the cake was dreadful. What do you think the context or the clue within that sentence is that will be able to tell us what the meaning of dreadful is? All right. So dreadful. So if the cookies were good, but we said that the cake was dreadful, then it means that it's like we are making some form of comparison and saying the cookies were good, but like the cake wasn't so nice, right? So yes. So they were saying it's like we are making that comparison because now it says that dreadful is the opposite of good. So as much as the cookies were good, but the cake was not so good. Right? That is actually what they mean. It's like it was bad. That is what dreadful means. Then it says, what a shrivel means. It says, without water, those flowers will shrivel. So without water, those flowers will shrivel. All right, so if we look at the word shrivel, it says that without water, those flowers will shrivel, meaning that it is about to die. Right? So if the water does not get enough water, if the flowers does not get enough water, right, then slowly but surely it is as if they are about to die. All right, so dry or up or die. Now we're going to our test, right? And we are going to use context to identify the meaning of the word. We're going to look for context within our sentences, and then we are going to choose the correct answer. What does adores mean? It says Sarah adores horses. She rides them every day. Adores. Is it loves or misses? All right. So if we look at the word adores, what do you think? Is adores loves or is adores misses? Guys, you need to tell me what is the answer. Is it option one? Is it loves, which is the first one, or is it misses? That what does adores mean? Loves or misses? All right, and if we were to choose the correct one, we would then say that what does adores mean if we were to use the context? It says she adores horses, she rides them every day, which means that it cannot be misses because she rides them every day, which means that we will say it is loves. She loves horses, she rides them every day. Oh gosh, and now. Sorry, guys, I really don't know what's happening. Just give me a few minutes. I don't know why that is showing that. All right, let's see. I really don't know. I'm just trying to see what's happening because the live is still on, which means that it is not the network. All right, so basically, if we just go over context clues again, right? And then it is meaning, or it's basically words or the meaning we will find within the text, within the sentence, all right? That is context clues. They're not going to give you the direct meaning of what that word is, but they will give you a word that we'll probably need a dictionary for. But instead of then getting a dictionary, we can just look at the text because within that text, right, or within that sentence, or within that explanation of something, we will then be able to get what that specific word means. And that is why we call it context clues. Guys, please bear with me. I don't know why it is doing things here. Does it show the same thing from your side when you open up when you're trying to do the test, or is it just from my side? All right, the network is quite strong. I don't know. Let me just. Guys, just give me one second. Let me just find out what's happening. Okay, let's see. There it's going. Okay, no, it's not. Is it just from my side, or are you guys also experiencing the same thing? All right, guys, I logged a fault now. Um, I do want to apologize. Okay, let us just continue, right? Without the test. Okay, so we said that with context clues, right, we have different words, and then within our words and sentences, right, there's specific sentences that will basically tell us what the word means. Guys, I just found out that it is a technical issue from our side, so I would like to apologize. right? But okay, let's continue. So when, like we said, with context clues, right, you will have a specific sentence, and then there will be one or two words within that sentence that we don't understand, but then the other words, that is why they either say nearby words, or the context within that sentence will then basically give us an idea of what that meaning is, or that the meaning of that word then is, right? And that we call context clues. We call that context clues. And with context clues, right, you will easily be able to see what the meaning is of the word, right? Of course, you're going to have to like really now look at the sentence, and then you're going to have to try to figure out what the meaning is of the word. And I made a simple example of when we said the first example of the first sentence. It says, Megan was glum when her best friend moved away. I think that was more of um a simpler meaning, right? Because here we know that if our friend leaves, right? If our friend moves away, if something happens to our friend, when something happens to our family, then how do we feel? We feel sad, right? So which means that when a best friend moves away, this clearly means that she felt sad. So it gives us an indication that glum means sad, right? So that is how we need to look at a specific sentence. We need to try and find the meaning within the context of the sentence. All right. Okay. Let's look at, yeah, so sad is correct, because sad gives us an indication that that is how the person felt. So even next time, if you want to use the word sad, so instead of just saying, oh, I'm feeling sad, you can then say that, I'm feeling glum, right? So you can maybe start using like a bigger word. So they won't really know what you mean, but you, so you can just say that I feel glum. So glum is another word for saying sad, right? Instead of saying I am angry, right? We can say I am irate, right? So I am irate. So this basically, it's the same as saying it is synonyms that we are using, right? So it's the same as synonyms, words with the same meaning or words with almost the same meaning. So glum means the same as sad, right? Or almost the same as sad. Happy. So why happy? How would you feel happy? Would you feel happy if your friend moves away? Especially your best friend, right? I think we would really be sad if our best friends were to move away. Guys, currently they are restarting our server, so it's going to take a few minutes. Um, Let me just see if it's on the other one also. All right, so then we're going to A plus classes.ca. We're going to reading. And then we're going to read aloud audiobooks level 1. And then we're going to read one of these books, right? And when we read, this is under A plus classes.ca, right? And you go to reading, you first go to learning materials, and then you go to reading, and then you're going to scroll right down up until you get to these purple boxes. Click on read along audiobooks level 1. I think that is going to be way better And then, especially for certain words that you don't know how to pronounce, right? Yeah, these books will then be able to, let's say, they will read aloud for you, right? All right, let's look for a reading piece. Right, let's go to Chef's Surprise. I'm sure that most of you do like either, not even cooking, but to do certain things.
Chef's Surprise by Brenda Doran. Photographs by Megan Castleman Condon.
All right, so we are going to read a audiobook. So you are just going to listen as well as listen to the reading piece.
Dad and I are planning a surprise. We go to the grocery store to buy the things we need. We start with crisp green lettuce. Dad says, "Which kind should we choose?" Then we get some tomatoes. I pick 2 juicy ones. We also need onions. Dad lets me weigh them. We pick up some blue cheese. But Dad, it is not really blue.
Mhm.
We get some olives too. I scoop them into a bowl. Now we pay the cashier. It is time to go home and make our surprise. I wash the vegetables and Dad cuts them up. Then we put everything in a bowl. It is all ready. Surprise! We made a chef's salad for Mom.
All right, so that is the one audiobook, right? And like I said, you can find the audiobooks on our aplusclasses.ca, right? You'll find it under learning material, reading, and then you just scroll down and then you can choose whichever book that you would want to listen to. And that is audiobook level 1, right? Let's do the last one.
All Kinds of Animals by Holly Hardman. I know about all kinds of animals. I know this mouse has big ears. I know this flamingo has a curved neck. I know this frog has shiny skin. I know this horse has brown hair. I know this chicken has colorful feathers. I know this snake has scaly skin. I know this goat has sharp horns. What do you know about animals?
All right, so there we were talking about the different kinds of animals, the different shapes of the animals, the skin of the animals, right? And the last question was what you know about animals. If you're an animal lover, right? Some of you experiment on animals. If you look at the skin, let's say maybe you have a goat or a sheep, the fur would be soft, right? That is how you will be able to look at certain in animals and try to differentiate between how they look, the shape, their fur, their skin, right? The legs, the paws, or do they have fins? Do they have feathers? Right? Remember, that is also part of looking deeper into a specific context. Because remember, context clues is not even just about finding a specific meaning, but it's trying to make meaning of certain things. Right? That can also be context clues. All right. Okay. Let's do one more reading. Guys, remember, the more we read, the more we'll even understand, the more we'll try to make meaning of certain things, right?
My Family by Gwen Lawrence. Father, mother, brother, sister, baby, grandfather and grandmother, uncle and aunt, cat and dog. My family.
All right. And remember, your family don't just consist of immediate family, can even be your pets as well as extended family. All right, so that is the end of our lesson on context clues. Remember, we said context clues. It is how if we look at the other parts of a sentence, right, and we try to make meaning of what that specific meaning of a word means. So we just look at the text, or we look at the sentence, and we try to find context within that sentence. We try to find the meaning of what it means within that given sentence, right, of either what that word or words mean, right? So thank you very much for joining the class. Thank you very much for your patience. And I do once again want to apologize for the error, the system error. It is from our side. But you should have a good evening further. Till next time. Goodbye.